have Stack Overflow, which has become the largest Q&A platform for developers worldwide. It is quickly expanding to enterprise customers with its SaaS knowledge management and collaboration offerings. With 120 million unique monthly visitors, they're now pushing towards their goal to work with every developer in the world. Today, the company has raised 85 million Series E. So we'll have the honor to welcome Jerry. Jerry is the CFO of Stack Overflow, and he's responsible for the financial health and culture of the company. He oversees the accounting, finance, revenue operations, corporate legal, people, and employee experience. He joined Stack back in 2015 as a controller, which in charge with system implementation and process improvement. Jerry has over 18 years of experience with strategic finance and operational leadership experience. So welcome, Jerry. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great. So we will start with maybe you can walk us through a little bit about how you guys got started with Stack.
Yeah, absolutely. So Stack started about 10 years ago with our two founders, Jeff Atwood and Joel Spolsky. They really wanted to build an environment and a place on the internet where folks could get together and share ideas and really come to achieving answers for the various coding and software development questions and issues that could come up over time. And what they found was that they got momentum relatively quickly, mainly because of the ease of use of the platform as well as the gamification piece that was added. So as you know, when you use Stack Overflow, there is the ability to upvote, downvote, and earn points and badges as you go through and answer questions and participate in the community. So today, when you think about the massive global reach and impact that we have on the development community, it's absolutely tremendous. We reach over 85% of the world's developers today. And those are folks that are coming to our site each and every week. When you look at the time for a developer to answer a question or for a community member to actually answer a question, it's just about 45 minutes, which is absolutely amazing. Today, you look at the engagement on the site, and we get over 120 million unique visitors, which puts us in the top 40 Alexa most traffic sites in the world. And in terms of user signups, we have over 160,000 users coming to the site and signing up each and every month. The one point that I want to just make on this slide is when you look at the right-hand side of the slide, that a lot of folks don't know, but we do have the largest developer community in the world, and with over 70 million of those developers coming to Stack Overflow and using the site and various products that we have. And when you compare that to, say, a GitHub, that is definitely a larger community than GitHub. So I talked a lot about the public community, which really is the moat that we've been able to create. And that really insulates us just with the number of questions, the quick answers, and it's the high quality of information around the software development community. It's just been absolutely amazing. And around that, we monetize. So we have 3 products, Stack Overflow for Teams, our advertising product, and our talent product. And I'll get into how each one of these work and what the offerings of each are. But I wanted to give a few highlights around the actual business today. So last year we had roughly 70 million in GAAP revenue. We've been EBITDA positive. Then EBITDA is our measure of profitability for the last 2 years. So both 18 and 19 have been EBITDA positive years for us. When you look at the company in terms of efficiency, we've been extremely efficient with capital. The last time we raised was 2015. We did a $40 million capital raise, and we just finished our Series E last month, where we raised 85 million. Catherine mentioned that in the intro. But in terms of revenue, is roughly 270,000 revenue per employee, which is amazing. Just given a company our size and reach, the average is around 200 when you look at the actual industry. And just a couple quick points on Teams. The growth around Teams, which is our developer collaboration tool, very similar to our Q&A public-facing platform. We've seen 125% year-over-year growth there consistently over the last 3 years. When you look at the net renewal rate or net retention rate, that's been in excess of 130%. And today we have about 1,500 paid teams on the platform today. So the overall market opportunity is what really excites me about Stack Overflow. And a big part of what I talked to just now was around what we do with developers and the community. And that's a good portion of the market opportunity, but that opportunity is much greater when we look at, when you start to expand that out. So 23 million developers in the world today, 85% of them are coming to Stack Overflow in some way, shape, or form. But developers don't work in a vacuum, right? They work with other technologists, so product managers, data scientists, database administrators, and so forth. Those are all considered technologists, and they use Stack Overflow, and we actually have niche sites around some of those specific topics. And then the bigger market opportunity is just knowledge workers. And that's anyone from a finance person to an HR to a legal person that is essentially a knowledge worker that's responsible for collaboration and knowledge in their day-to-day job. So when you look at some of the market research around this, the collaboration market is over $10 billion today, according to Grandview. And it's continuing to grow. Gartner has that growing by 2x over the next 4 years. So just very interesting and just very exciting market opportunity when it comes to where Stack Overflow is positioned today and capitalizing on knowledge workers, technologists, and developers. So when we kind of double click on the workflow for a software developer, on the left-hand side, you kind of see a software developer and the various software tools that they use today, with Stack Overflow being at the middle of that. So when you look at a developer, they'll have their code environment open at any given time, working on their code. And if a question comes up around the work that they do, they'll go to Stack Overflow to get the answer for that question. And now we introduced, and I talked about it briefly before, the Stack Overflow for Teams product, which is our internal Q&A platform that allows a developer to access and unlock information within a company in order to do their job. So a good use case would be, you have a developer that's working at, say, a large commercial bank, and they get assigned to a project where they need to recode the ATM software. So clearly, if questions come up around Q&A on that project, you wouldn't want to put that in a public domain on stackoverflow.com. But a question like that is 100% appropriate to collaborate on internally with other folks that work at that said company. So that's where Stack Overflow comes in and essentially helps those organizations manage that knowledge and fits right into a developer's workflow. Because, like I said on a couple of slides previous, 85% of the world's developers know and love Stack Overflow and use the public-facing site. So when folks, or companies, I should say, buy our product and start using it internally, there is no learning curve. So when we look at the market opportunity and I start to project out over the next couple of years, I see our growth going to 180 million ARR, over 10,000 paid teams, and over 500 plus enterprise accounts. just a quick conversation around the different products that we have. So I mentioned the free community where developers can collaborate online, 70 million of those folks around specific questions. So we have over 150 sites, 260 signups. I've mentioned that before. And you essentially see the Stack Overflow community on the left. In the middle, I talked briefly about the Teams product. It's 17 million in ARR today, 1,500 paid teams, 3,500 total teams. We do have some that are on free trial at the time. And what I've kind of laid out here is the different tiers within that product. We also have two other products, our talent and our advertising project, which we combine call reach and relevance. And the revenue there is roughly 54 million. So when we look at what's happening there is we actually bring together companies to interact with developers for different areas of reach. So for example, under our talent platform, we bring employers and developers together in order to place jobs. So employers can place a job description on our job board and essentially use us as a hiring platform to attract developers. And on the advertising side, we give companies the ability to evangelize products to the 70 million technologists that are coming to the site every month. So I want to take a minute to just talk about teams and the typical land and expand motion that we have when we go into a specific customer. So I'll do one. So when you look at the top right quadrant, this is a large global software provider, and this is a customer of ours. I can't say their name because we're under NDA with them, but today, this provider has over 80,000 technologists on the Teams platform today. Our motion is land and expand. The customer has been with us for the last 3 years, but when we first sold to them, we did a 1 year, $150,000 deal, and that slowly expanded over the last 2 years. So that expansion, where it comes from is normally we'll sell into a developer community. So it'll be a specific division of a company and mainly focused around developers. But slowly as the product is adopted, database administrators will jump in and start to use the platform. Product managers will jump in and start to use the platform. And it will slowly start to creep into other areas within the company. And that deal has been successfully expanded to $1.5 million. So just tremendous growth on that particular client. And you could actually see on the other areas, very similar growth as well. One of the things I did, which I think is just very interesting, is taking our projected growth out to 2022 and benchmarking that against some of the SaaS leaders that have gone public over the last couple of years, and they're listed here. And our North Star is to go public. So we look at this on a regular basis to calibrate to make sure that we're going in the right direction. But if you see revenue-wise, we're right in the mix. And we believe over the next year, if we achieve our targets, that we can actually go public from a revenue, a net retention perspective, as well as a revenue growth rate perspective. So just a very interesting slide to kind of work backwards from a potential IPO in the next few years.
So first of all, I would love to ask you, given what's happened with the last 10 years, you guys have reached tremendous success. Could you tell me more about what do you think is number one reason you guys have such a successful, loyal customer base?
Well, I think when we first started the platform, the main thing was that we started with a blank slate and essentially built what the community wanted. And we continue to listen to our community as best we can and continue to build products that folks have come to respect and love and use. And that community now has been one of the pillars to our success. And we continue to innovate on that side so that we can stay ahead and competitive within in the marketplace. And I think you see the brand value and the reach that we've been able to attain with developers. It's made, when we introduced the Teams product in 2016, the tremendous growth that we experienced after launching that product was a testament to the brand value that we've been able to create. And folks really know and love the brand and the ease of use, the gamification, and so forth. And that's translated into a successful product launches.
During the time you've joined Stack, what are some exciting developments, like when you joined as a controller and now CFO? What do you see are some of the progresses you made?
Yeah, I think the introduction of the Teams product has been tremendous, and I love it because it complements the public-facing Q&A with the internal-facing Q&A. So it makes me feel like when I talk about Stack Overflow, you look at a individual developer, and we've always advocated for developers in companies, and we essentially have created products where we have developers back in every situation in their career. So for example, if you're a recent grad and you're looking for a job, you can use Stack Overflow to find a job. When you get that job and you start to have generic coding questions, and you're looking for support in that area, you can go to stackoverflow.com and see the library of over 40 million questions. And if the answer is not there, within 45 minutes to an hour, you will get the answer. And then for some of the more proprietary questions around your internal code base, if that company you work at has purchased Stack Overflow, we have your back with those specific proprietary questions. So I've always been a big advocate for what we do, and have always been amazed at the reach that we've had over the years.
What do you think right now with the recent funding, Series E, you guys raised 85 million. How do you think about the growth for the next 1 to 5 years?
Yeah, we really see doubling down on Teams as the way forward and the way to us continuing the tremendous momentum that we had over the years. So if you notice in some of the prepared remarks, I focused a lot of that on Teams and some of the Teams growth. And so a significant portion of that 85 million will be dedicated to the Teams product, mainly go-to-market and product initiatives around adoption.
Gotcha. And we're really excited to see that you guys are expanding into enterprise clients. Can you highlight some of the strategies here, and what are some of the early success stories on the enterprise rollouts?
Yeah, I had mentioned in some of the prepared remarks, the one large global software maker that was really land and expand. So that's one of the really remarkable success stories for us as a company. Being able to have 80,000 technologists on our platform, and it's a really big marquee name. Also, if you were to visit our website, you'll see there's a number of customer testimonials or customer case studies that we've done. We've done one with Microsoft. We've done one with Expensify. We've done with many others that kind of you can hear it from the customer side as to why they enjoy working with Stack Overflow and using the software. But it's interesting because early on when we introduced the product, there were a few folks that adopted it very early and saw, and I think the large internet service companies, I should say, like the Microsofts and so forth, they've always recognized that knowledge management within the organization is something that was really important. So a lot of them started to build internal tools around, kind of unlocking stuff from people's mind and putting it in a central repository so everyone could kind of see it. And so when we introduced the product, we had quite a bit of pent-up demand from that segment. The second industry that has always had foresight into understanding knowledge management has been the financial services and banking sector. So it's no surprise that today a number of our customers within our customer list are from that area. So just really good momentum with the financial services as well as software makers.